You said no timeline headings, no labels, just the script. Here's an 8-minute YouTube-ready script in American English, camera-ready, with the 5 most important facts sourced in line. You ever watch a sports meltdown and feel like you're watching a soap opera with better uniforms? Welcome to Cleveland, where the quarterback question isn't a status update, it's a public relations crisis. Sunday at MetLife was supposed to be a reset. The Browns came off a bye and marched into a Jets team that, on paper, looked beatable. Instead, they left with a 27-20 loss, a locker room that looks rattled, and a social feed full of fans demanding answers, including, bizarrely, calls for an FBI investigation into rookie quarterback Dillon Gabriel. Let's unpack how it got this weird, what's actually true, and what Cleveland needs to do next. Sportsnaut, start with the facts. The Browns fell 27-20 to the New York Jets. Dillon Gabriel completed 17 of 32 passes for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. He didn't throw an interception, but he took 6 sacks for a loss of 47 yards. Those numbers tell 2 stories at once: flashes of competence mixed with brutal protection issues and timing problems. You can't look at those sack totals and blame the young QB for everything, but you also can't ignore that the offense failed to make the game easy on him. Sportsnaut. Now the social media chaos. Fans flooded feeds with anger. Some demanded Shedeur Sanders, the rookie who hasn't yet played in a regular season snap, get a look. Others took the reaction a step further, posting conspiracy-minded calls for an FBI probe into Gabriel's performance after viral clips of missed throws spread across platforms. It's internet theater at its loudest, a mix of real frustration, hot takes, and the kind of performative outrage that makes headlines but not solutions. We have multiple reports capturing this fan backlash. Threads. So what drove the outrage? A few things. First, context. The Browns are 2-7. When a team starts losing, fans' thresholds for patience evaporate. Second, optics. Gabriel's misses, a handful of poorly placed throws, and a controversial pass that drew criticism have been looped and edited into highlight reels that simplify nuance into outrage. Third, timing. Gabriel is a third-round pick from Oregon who flashed in college. Expectations were mixed. Now he's asked to run an NFL offense that has had its share of schematic changes, coaching shifts, and protection breakdowns. Fans see the mistakes. They don't get the practice reps and behind-the-scenes conversations that coaches use to make decisions. Gangrene Nation. And what did the team do about it? Head coach Kevin Stefanski didn't cave to the noise. He said after the game that the Browns will stick with Dillon Gabriel as the starter. That's not an emotional defense. It's a statement of process. Stefanski and the staff are betting that continuity and coaching will yield better results than a panic move that hands a rookie the keys in the middle of a season. You can respect that stance and still argue it's risky. Both arguments have merit. Cron. Let's be honest. The starters for starters drama in Cleveland is partly self-inflicted. The Browns have shuffled their QB room all season. Joe Flacco started, then the team pivoted to Gabriel, and a litany of roster moves and mixed messages have left fans and reporters confused. That's on the front office and the coaching staff. If you don't manage expectations cleanly, social media mobs do it for you. And they always do a worse job. Reuters. So who's right? Fans demanding an audition for Shedeur Sanders are acting out of emotion, but they're not totally irrational. Sanders represents hope, an athletic, headline-making prospect whose very presence implies a future. The counter is the coach's argument. Put your work into the practice room, stabilize the unit, and give your starter a real chance to grow. Both sides can point to examples that support them. The critical difference is this: coaches get to live with the long-term consequences of their moves. Fans get to yell into their phones and leave. That dynamic matters more than most people admit. Gangrene Nation. Let's break down immediate fixes that actually matter, not the hot takes that trend for a day. 1. Protect the pocket. 6 sacks in a game is a full team failure, not just a QB failure. The offensive line needs help in call, communication, or personnel, possibly all 3. The Browns can't sell, will develop the rookie if they aren't willing to give him time to throw. Sportsnaut 2, simplify the reads. If Gabriel remains the starter, shorten his pre-snap checklist. Quick drops, high percentage throws, and more play action, off clear run plans reduce turnover risk and let timing build. In short, fewer options, more rhythm. Coaches can script that in a week. Reuters 3. Manage the media. Teams implode when internal uncertainty bleeds out. The Browns need a consistent message. Either you're developing Gabriel and we'll let him grow, or you're auditioning Sanders and we'll say so publicly and commit to the plan. Half answers create social media chaos. Cron 4. Give the rookie a staged audition if needed. If the staff wants to evaluate Sanders without headline risk, give him controlled reps in low-leverage moments, scripted packages, rollouts, designed runs to see how he handles NFL speed. That's how you protect the player and gather data. Gangrene Nation. Now the danger. If the Browns keep Gabriel without fixing the line or the scheme, they'll only extend the agony and deepen the calls for change. If they swap quarterbacks without addressing systemic problems, they'll have a new scapegoat and the same results. The solution is both surgical and boring. Protect the pocket, simplify assignments, and commit to a transparent plan. That is not sexy content for highlight reels, but it is how teams salvage seasons. Sportsnaut, here's the human angle that social media forgets. These are young men's careers and people's livelihoods. Dumping on a rookie in public does damage. So does a front office that never gives a young player a chance to fail forward in private. Real leadership balances accountability with development. Right now, Cleveland looks like it's been caught between those two imperatives and, frankly, not doing either well. Reuters. There's final thought. The FBI tweets and the anger are loud, but they don't change the football. What will matter is what happens on the practice field this week, how Stefanski and offensive coordinator Tommy Rees, who has taken on more play-calling responsibility recently, adjust the game plan, and whether the Browns can show immediate, measurable improvements in protection and simple execution. Winners fix fundamentals. Losers trade noise for answers. Cleveland's choice is obvious, and the clock is ticking. Reuters. If you want this turned into a tight VO script with exact line breaks for an 8-minute video, read cadence notes, B-roll cues, game clips, sack slow-mo, social posts, coach press conference, and on-screen stat cards, I'll write it ready to drop into the timeline in crisp American English. Which version do you want? What do you do when a city starts begging for an answer louder than the plays on the field? When the scoreboard reads 2-7 and every social feed is full of impatience, the simplest question, who should be under center, turns into the loudest argument in town. The scene. The scene. MetLife Stadium, a cool November afternoon, fans in the stands clutching hope like a folded program. The Browns lose to the Jets, 27-20. Dillon Gabriel finishes with 2 touchdowns and 183 yards, but the stat line doesn't calm anyone. A handful of throws, a controversial pass to Malachi Corley, a few attempts to Jerry Jeudy that draw gasps, get replayed in 10-second clips and amplified into hashtags. By the end of the night, a portion of the fan base has moved past anger and into performative outrage. Investigate him, they say online, half joke, half threat, as if an FBI probe could somehow fix a season. This story isn't only about one game, it's about 2 colliding narratives. One is the patient arc, a 3rd-round pick from Oregon, a kid who's been learning the NFL rhythm who the coaches say they trust. The other is instant gratification, a young name on the bench, Shedeur Sanders, who, in the court of public opinion, looks like the quick reboot the franchise craves. Coaches, though, don't always act like a trending timeline. Kevin Stefanski answers differently. After the loss, he says, plainly, they will stick with Dillon. That's a decision with consequences. It's a vote for process at a time when patience is short and the season feels like it's slipping. Let's be honest about why the fans are loud. Football is impatient by nature. Short weeks, shorter windows, and the sense that one choice can recalibrate a year. When a team stumbles to 2-7, the online crowd edits together every misstep and stitches them into a single narrative. If you don't replace the quarterback, you are choosing failure. That energy is real and emotional and sometimes useful. It jolts front offices, it forces conversations. But it also has a hunger for spectacle. Shedeur Sanders represents that spectacle. Pedigree, potential, a new headline. Putting him in would be dramatic. It might electrify a locker room. Or it might accelerate the breakdown of the entire structure that relies on timing, protection, and practice reps. So what are coaches weighing when they choose continuity over change? It's not a refusal to act, it's a calculation. Quarterbacks are not isolated chess pieces you can swap without consequence. The offensive line's timing, receivers' routes, the cadence the quarterback uses, they are all interlinked. You don't insert a player midstream and expect chemistry to arrive like a telegram. You risk turning one problem into many. Stefanski has a young player he believes is learning and improving. If he thinks Gabriel will grow into the role, he's betting on a longer arc, perhaps the only reasonable bet.